Hello, I'm Tony.
I'm Louie.
And this is Talking During the Movie.
It's the Talking During the Movie podcast with your hosts, Louis Gravance and Tony Whitten.
Welcome back. It's been a little while.
Yeah, we've both been very busy.
We've been extremely busy.
Because we've let a lot of films go by.
We have, and that's unfortunate, but I'm hoping that at the end of this we can do a little rapid fire. I've seen some, I'm sure you have seen much more.
Oh, yeah.
Because when I started this, I'm passionate about movies, but I specifically wanted you because I like my movies. You love your movies. Well, and you make an effort, much more than
it does. You have to apply yourself.
You do, and you so do, and I wanted to harness that.
Can I be honest with you though?
Please, absolutely.
Okay, because for a while there, I was a member of MoviePass.
Yes, that's like the online
right, and I spent $34.99
exchange.
No, that's Hollywood Stock Exchange.
Oh, okay.
MoviePass is I paid $34.99, and I could see as many movies as I wanted.
That sounds lovely.
So that's why I saw one of the reasons why I would see every piece of crap that came out. So I find that now, but then they started getting really weird, and I noticed that they
always do.
Well, you know
it's
why?
It's great for like 2 years, and every single one of these movie bonus things.
You know what? They didn't want people like me on it. They did, because I suddenly I got all these restrictions that I was asking my friends, what do you think about this? Are you having to send in the tickets stuff? And they're like, no. Are you paying? No. So they were people like me that were really
now they're on to
this.
It's like an all-you-can-eat buffet, but then they like limit 12 pancakes.
Exactly. It's like not every night, dude. Right. So it was like it was sort of like when they give you that silver pass at Disney. You say, oh yes, many times every day after this you can bring somebody in. But after about a week, they'd be like,
yeah.
What you really want to be doing?
Can we get that back?
Same kind of thing.
We're gonna give you the bronze pass.
So I've been slightly more discriminating this year.
Oh, thank goodness. So no more spring break, I hope.
Shut up about that. And you know,
for our new viewers, a couple years ago, Louis insisted that we review a movie called Spring Break.
Yes.
Starring
Spring Breakers.
Spring Breakers, starring James Franco. No real discernible reason to see that.
No, that's so not true. People that know film.
No, James Franco himself was great in it. I will give him that.
A lot of things are great
character.
about the movie. It was too weird for you, but you're a little bit square for your age.
A lot? That's strong words.
Look at all my shit.
He was fantastic in it, but you have to sit through a lot just to get that little bit out of it.
Okay, but you don't know that we're about to get a James Franco masterpiece coming.
Yeah.
Do you not even know? Okay, we're totally off the point.
We're
here. Totally off
We'll get to it in a minute. We'll get to the movie we're doing in a minute. But
maybe you know that considered one of the most beautifully horrible made movies of all time, beautifully made bad movies of all time is called The Room.
Oh yes, I've heard of The Room.
By Tommy Wiseau. And this
infamous.
mysterious weirdo guy.
Infamous, like El Guapo.
Right. Well, James Franco has done a movie about the making of the worst movie ever made. And at first people thought, oh, whatever. But it's been screened, and it's already a critic's darling, and there's already Oscar buzz about this movie. It's called The Escape Artist, I think is what it's called.
Deep Inside the Room?
No, it's not called Deep Inside the Room.
Room Service?
Stop it.
That would be a good one.
Anyway, you're always pissing on James Franco's.
No!
I'm
pissing on Spring Breakers. I like James Franco, even as an actor. I said,
even as an actor.
Well, that came out wrong. What I'm saying is, even in that movie. Yeah, I'm praising him as the one thing that was decent about Spring Breakers. That's not pissing on James Franco.
Just enough about this.
But actually, I think I would be more inclined to see a documentary about the movie than the actual movie The Room.
No, you've got to see it.
Do I?
Yeah.
I don't.
No.
I have a finite amount of time on this planet, and I don't want to spend it watching The Room.
Okay, there are some bad movies that you're like, after 10 minutes, no, this is worth seeing.
Yeah, I'd see the documentary. I can learn about it from the documentary. I don't have to sit through The Room.
Okay, another question I have is, of all the movies that have come out all summer,
yes,
this is the one that we're going to talk about tonight.
Yes.
This is the one that you threw the gauntlet down and did.
I said we need to. I said we need to do
so
a movie.
This was the one.
Well, I can't say like this was the best of all of them. Because like I said, we don't want to do just the summer tentpoles. We want to do some other random things as well. Some smaller movies as well. We actually did Room. Like a year and a half ago. Not The Room, but Room.
But that's like a classic.
So make sure you don't confuse the two, because one is quality cinema and the other is the subject of a documentary.
Bad.
It's fantastically bad. Right. So this is the one that just our schedules happen to align. We happen to both see and happen to work out. So
Yes, and also one more caveat.
I haven't had a chance to see like Spider-Man yet.
What?
I know. Hopefully we'll get to that very very
Oh
soon.
my God!
That's why I'm saying
What's
I know
wrong with you.
that life gets in the way. As much as I hate to say it, we
You don't
things
have
happen.
kids.
We have a cat.
Anyway, I just want
A
to say
very
that I
demanding
need to
cat.
eat some crow because I was asked to do a blog early in the summer for someone about what my picks for hits and misses. And I want you to know, man, I hit them. Like,
Yeah?
I hit the sleeper hit, Baby
Yeah.
Driver. I hit him, bam, 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 except for one. I couldn't have been more wrong about Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
I could not have been.
What did
more
you
wrong.
What did you say about?
You
Wonder
remember,
Woman?
I thought it was going to dive. I thought it was
Yeah.
going to suck so bad. It was going to take a
that's-
piece of the Marvel universe
If I
down
had
with it.
when I first heard they were going to make a Wonder Woman, like especially after like Man of Steel and Dawn of Justice or whatever, I was like, ooh, it wasn't.
I thought there was no hope.
Yeah, it sounded like it wasn't going to be good, and they
The
pulled
Vegas
off
odds were just
a
not
wonderful
good.
popcorn fun summer. Summer movie. I thoroughly enjoyed Wonder Woman. Very
Terrible
entertaining.
summer. Terrible summer.
We've had-
Terrible summer.
we've had bad
But we
summers.
was here to talk about.
But we're here to speaking of James Franco,
Yes.
who starred in the first of this trilogy.
Yes.
Today we are reviewing the third in the rebooted Planet of the Apes trilogy, War of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
So there's our James Franco tie-in. We always try and tie him into
beautiful.
every episode. He's our recurring theme.
It's true. He kind of is.
He does come back
And
up
he's-
again.
and
Even the
he's-
time we couldn't remember his name.
Right.
We
And
watched the other episodes. Yeah.
I couldn't begin to guess how you felt about this film.
Yeah.
Really.
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 Well, I have to.
Ah,
say,
well, I could maybe guess.
Well, I have to say they have all been very consistent in their quality.
They're good.
These
Very
are
well.
good.
They're
reboots.
very, very,
And
very
it
well
hasn't
made
like
motion
dropped.
pictures.
Like the quality tends to like
Oh, no.
second, sometimes a second go, but very rarely.
No,
you
no,
know?
no, no.
But
no, in
this
fact,
has been
they've
all about
the
the
state
same-
of the art has
about the same
improved as
level.
well.
Yes.
And they've improved with it. They've
Yes.
utilized. Yeah.
Yes. I was impressed with this movie. I thought it equally as enjoyable as the two that came before it. And that's hard for a third movie in a trilogy. Usually, like, it's the same old jokes or the same old plot, and the quality just drops off. It is very, very rare for a third movie to be just as good, if not slightly better,
It's very.
than the other movies. in the
You know,
series.
and it's named aptly because it's a war movie.
It's a war movie.
It's like it's a war movie. Now I had a couple of issues with it. I did.
I'm sure there are.
And I think it's a very well made motion picture.
It's a very well made motion picture. I like how it continues the story. It's not just another one of the same thing like horror movies tend to be. The killer comes back inexplicably and there's more.
Oh
deaths,
no,
things
it
like that.
ties in
No.
many magical
and
ways.
it ties in wonderfully. It takes what has been learned and takes a logical next step.
even from the old movies.
Yeah, so
blends
everything
it
still
all
applies.
beautifully. It really
they don't have to
does.
poop on anything they've already done in order to tell this story.
And there's nothing cheeky about it or too self-referential, and yet they do that. It's not too.
No,
Walk
and there's
walk
wonderful
out.
there's wonderful little callbacks to the original
Respectfully.
Planet of the Apes movie, plus tying into their reboot. And here's something I did not realize until recently. I was at a bookstore, a used like book trading store, and came across the novel Planet of the Apes. It was a novel by a French author.
That's true.
And I did not know that even growing up with the original.
I'm surprised you didn't know
I
that.
did not know that, and I guess I
Really?
just never picked it up on the credits.
Because if we
before.
went into your little toy closet over there, which is not little at all, it's like
No, maybe one day we'll get a preview
Howard
of that.
Hughes kind of a thing.
It's in a flux right
but
now.
I think you've got Planet of the Apes.
I do not.
You don't?
I do not. I don't have any of the older ones or the newer ones.
He's got quite a look at this place, isn't it neat?
I do have a treasured grove
kind of amazing.
action figures, and it's currently under renovations. The museum is under renovation, so maybe we'll get a preview later on.
Like sealed, so like
It's-
dust can. It's
And
like,
there are action figures of these new Planet of the Apes.
Really?
movies. Yes, there are.
okay, maybe
Newer
that's
ones.
where I
There's
got
only like
confused,
2 or 3.
'cause I've been in it.
And
Okay, but these are the issues I have.
all right, let's get into the issues.
I think the movie is too brutal, and
Too brutal.
I think the movie's too brutal, and I think that it's okay. I know that the way we tell stories is that we make you care for the protagonist and hate the antagonist.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, we hate Woody Harrelson early on, and then we still have got to see a lot of really sweet monkeys getting whipped.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and one other thing. Think of the brutality in this film. If those were not monkeys tied up in sort of a Christ-like thing up on those, if those were people,
Mm-hmm.
do you think this would have got a PG-13?
Probably, I think it could have still made a PG-13.
You do?
Yes.
I think this is completely inappropriate to be a PG-13 motion picture.
You think it should be an R?
Yes, I do.
It is very close. I will say it is very close to an R.
I do think it's an R-rated motion picture. I do not think. I think it's way too brutal to be a PG-13 movie. I mean, it's part of the storytelling. They want you. This is a terrible thing that you're witnessing.
This is a horrible times.
A genocide.
Yeah.
So I mean,
it's about a battle of the species.
And I think it's too brutal for kids.
Well, it's PG-13, so kids shouldn't be watching. They say
come
start
on.
at 13,
which means 10.
Well, I wouldn't. You wouldn't take a 5-year-old to this if you might. I don't want to judge, but really you shouldn't.
They do. There were 8-year-olds in the audience when I was there.
Yeah. So use your best judgment.
I'm just saying.
At least they put the information.
I think it's way too brutal.
Well, do you think it not suffers, but if it's part of that thing, like you can get away with more in animation because people know it's not.
That's
quite
what
real.
I'm asking with you. I think that maybe they thought, well, they're the monkeys. We can get away with it. We can tie them up.
Like
and
Family Guy is extremely brutal, but we get away with it because it's played for a joke.
That's right, and it's
a
two-dimensional,
cartoon.
Cutouts.
We know that these aren't real, so it may be depending on that to get away with this brutality because in the back of your mind you know that these aren't really people depicted as that. These are CG. Very well done CG.
Now, what do you think of? Well, they're more than CG. I mean, it's
motion capture and facial capture and stuff
so
like that.
Andy Serkis plays Caesar, which is sort of our central character, and so there's been talk about that performance up for an Academy Award. What do you think about that?
Well, see, that's tough.
What do you think about that?
That's controversial.
Because people have now think about it. People have won Academy Awards. Lon Chaney. People have won Academy Awards with incredible prosthetics.
Yes.
They have.
Right.
They've won.
Right. But you could argue. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. You could argue
the Elephant Man,
that part of that is also based on the artist of the CGI illustrator.
Well, you could say the same thing as part of the performance is part of the makeup person, part of the.
Right, but that once that is applied, that is done. So they're sculpting it, but it's up to the actor to take that sculpture and bring life into it. So you could have a performance under heavy makeup, but now you're kind of splitting their performance between the baseline of what the actor is performing, their vocal and their body, and then you give it to an animator who now has to digitize. It's not just a straight translation. You press a button and the ape.
No, but there's an art
on.
to it. Clearly, there's an
art
to it because
the
they
illustration
use the
of
same
character.
5 or 6 people all the time because they know what they're doing with the with the medium. So it's just interesting. I'm almost wondering if it's its own not art form, but it's its own technique. It's its own craft.
Right. Yes, but is the performance the actor or is it a reference for the artist who is creating this character in the computer? Because they've created full CG characters, and the most they've done is kind of they'll record the face to get the facial features to kind of match the voice.
This is the best I've ever seen.
It is up to the artist.
This is the best you'll ever see of that.
Yes. So
when those apes are talking,
it looks great.
It's
very believable.
It's very believable.
Yeah, there are some scenes where you still see a little bit of the strings pulling here.
Sure, especially like sometimes with the
and some of the longer shots.
Some of the longer shots
where the detail fudges a little bit because you're not getting as much, and so they fudge the detail.
But we used to tolerate Dr. Zero and being able to see their mouth behind that prosthetic.
So it's a long way from.
So yes, I mean,
it's a long way from Dr. Zayas and Cornelius.
You can. I'm wondering if that's where we're going, because one of my favorite ones is when Cornelius and Dr. Zero come and they have a boat named after them at Disneyland and they get put up in that hotel. Do you remember that one?
No.
You must know that one. That was like the last good one before they went. And even that was before
that was when they travel back in time to the 60s.
That's before, yes.
Yes, that was like almost the last
That's
one.
before it was like the Richard Pryor one. I mean, you know what I mean?
They were in Superman 3. What?
But I mean, you don't know that one?
I remember they go back in time, but I don't remember them going to Disneyland.
Well, no, they're at the hotel. And they're like enjoying the free shampoos and stuff.
Yeah, I remember like the world treat them as celebrities.
And they're watching TV and they're fascinated by TV. And it says, "Oh, tomorrow, here's the Dr. Zero, and tomorrow they'll be they'll be visiting Disneyland, where a boat will be named after them at the Jungle Cruise attraction." Did you
I
remember
don't remember that scene.
No,
No,
but
maybe
none
I'll
of
watch
you
it
will
again.
care.
But I do
I know
remember
that.
the movie where they come back in time to our, the modern time, the 60s.
Okay, well, the world's come
And-
around.
and
And,
like
the
Ricardo
planet spins.
And like Ricardo Montalban is like the circus
I
ringmaster. and
forgot
stuff.
about him, yes.
Yeah. Anyway,
But
we digress.
they could do those movies again.
They could. If that's where they want to take it.
I mean, it's not spoiling anything. I mean,
Right.
you know what's happening. I mean, you know that.
Yeah, this is the third movie, so we're assuming that you've seen the first two.
Well, you know what's happening. I mean,
Right,
you
right.
know that these characters are famous characters.
Yes,
it's not
yes.
like saying, and
No, it's not giving anything away.
and
No,
she
no.
has powers that can make ice. I mean, it's not like a secret.
Right.
You know that you're seeing the children that are going to grow up to be the characters in the very first movie we ever saw.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the 60s.
Right.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah, I like the because this does wrap up like the trilogy. You could make this a trilogy and leave it alone.
They could
and
stop
it would be fine.
right
But-
here, but they won't. But
well,
they
it's making tons of money. It's a great movie. So they're like, we got something here. We got a franchise.
could stop right here and be elegant and just
That
fine.
would be nice because inevitably the gene pool is going to water down. That always happens. So
This has been a summer where you can just smell the carcasses of dying franchises. Just struggling.
well, let's get to that. Let's get to that at the end. Then, yes.
One after another.
Yes.
Taking their gasps of breath as they sink into your head.
Yeah.
I mean, really. That's what makes Baby Driver so refreshing because, I mean, in this stench of death, which is what this
There's a
season
breath
is,
of
that
fresh air.
You actually see a franchise being born. Like the baby Jesus, in that it doesn't come from a toy, it doesn't come from another television show. It's just a pure franchise, sort of
It's
being born out of its own quality and its own.
That's nice. That's always nice when you get something new and fresh like that. And then 20 years from now, they'll be remaking Baby Driver. you
No,
know?
oh, it's gonna go all nutty. That's why I say you got to see this one because as I was watching Baby Driver, baby, where you going, baby?
Hey, baby. Baby, where you going? Hey, baby. Have you seen my golf club?
Where you going, baby?
It's a driver.
Baby, you driving? Where you going? Baby, it looks like you're trying to leave.
Anyway,
Nobody puts Baby Driver in a corner.
nobody. So anyway, baby, he's so hot. Baby is so hot. I just want that Ansel Elgort. Oh my God.
Ansel Adams? What?
Ansel Elgort. That's his name.
Really?
Baby.
He became a movie star with a name like Ansel
I know.
Elgort?
Well, they're all. And they're
I think him and Idris Elba should hang out.
Well, and there's also
That would be awesome.
Anyway, you need to see this because there is a.
All right, let's talk about the other movies. All right,
There's
so
a
Baby
purity
Driver.
about it. There's a purity about it. Baby Driver, you gotta go.
No, it's
Did
just
you see it?
I have not.
Ah!
I've not seen that. Let's talk about dying franchises. Transformers.
I wouldn't. Okay, there's an example. I said no.
You haven't seen it?
The Nancy
I have seen the
Reagan
movie that you have
Sells
not?
had just said no. Just say no. I said
Well,
no.
that's a good advice.
I just said no. You know why?
It's a mess.
It's too damn long.
It's so the last one was too long as well.
Too damn long.
And it's a mess. It's a very simple plot line. It's a very simple story at the heart of it, and then they just add all this other crap that you don't need
Pirates shoots its wad in the first 12 minutes, and then it's just like boom, 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 more. Boom.
to it. Yeah. And it again very same tonal.
Now, Fast
Almost
and
same
the
story
Furious
as,
8 was good, and so was Guardians of the Galaxy. That came early.
Yeah, I enjoyed Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah. It seemed much more simpler than the last one. It was a very straightforward story. It just kind of barely tied in, but I thought it was very well done. Very emotional. Guardians of the Galaxy
And
2.
even the animated fare, Despicable Me 3, just
How was that?
it's fine, but again, it's worn
Well,
thin.
see, that's my problem with a lot of movies lately is that they're okay, they're good,
And there's
but
something
but
cynical
very
about
little
it.
is great.
Because they're so obviously setting up future installments.
And I hate that. I hate taking an entire movie to set up another movie.
Well,
Like,
then
I'm
don't-
here now.
Well, then don't see
Tell
Despicable
me
Me
a
3.
story now. I'm here
don't
for
say that.
this story. Don't set up everything else ahead of time. If you get other time to put more of a bigger world in there, that's fine. But I'm here for a story. Tell me that story, and then if there's room, move on to the next one. I hate that because that's a trend lately.
Well, then you're not
The
gonna,
last
like-
6-7 years, they've been doing a lot of, well, we're going to do a lot of world building because of the Marvel
It's
universe.
like going to somebody's house for dinner and just assuming they're going to invite you back
I
next
think that's
week.
a bad byproduct of the
Right.
Marvel universe. They played a long game and they're making tons of money. Everyone else is seeing it and go, well, we can world build by not telling full stories. We're going to tell like a third of the story. Like, no. You tell this story and then you've got another story.
You kids
and
get
you've
off
got
my
another
lawn.
story. Exactly. I'm ranting. I am ranting, damn it. And a lot of good movies are suffering from that, where they've taken part of the plot to set up the next movie. I'm like, no. Hollywood made a ton of money, and they did it before, of telling one solid story in a larger universe and then expanding that universe. The way this movie's done. Each one of these Planet of the Apes movies is its own story. It is complete from start to finish, but yet you can move on.
And you
it
can
creates
see
a bigger
one of
world.
them and you get it. You don't
Right.
like you would. You're
Each one stands on its own.
That's true.
Yes, it does help to know the other two movies before you see this one, and it gives you more insight. You have more more feelings for these characters, but it is a complete story. And I hate that they're taking away from that, especially in this medium where it takes a ton of money, a ton of time, and a ton of people. Like one person can write a novel, and you have a small team of people that can get it published and out on the streets, right? You know, or a painting it might be one or two artists, you know. But this takes a ton of money, a ton of time, and a ton of people in this medium to tell one particular story. So it better be a good story to be worth everyone's time and money, and to shortchange that by trying for the long gamble. You can't do that. You've got to tell each story.
You can't. It's just cynical unless you've got a story to tell.
Because if
But
this
it's
one
also-
sucks, I don't care about 4.
It's also cynical making
If one doesn't
movie
work.
3 movies when you could do it in 2, like those Hobbit movies. You know,
Right.
Just we can, so we will.
Well, there were 3 novels for the first one. I don't mind Lord of the Rings because each one was a novel. Now,
Okay,
that was
right,
the
I
original
know.
material, but
you
dragging
know
a
what I
Hobbit
mean.
out into 3 movies,
3
yes.
movies.
Doesn't need it.
Okay.
It doesn't need it. And I also don't like the part 1 and part 2 now. I don't like that idea. I'm not a big fan of it. If it's done right, maybe. But I don't want that to become a habit either.
You know, Disney just said, you know, they laid out their movies for the next 2.5 years.
Yeah,
Which is
yeah.
part of the problem is because these studios are booking these weekends
Yeah.
out so
Yeah.
far in advance that, you know. Anyway,
But you can do it with some things like Star Wars. You know there's going to be more movies coming.
I'm
You know
just
there's
going
going
to
to be
say
3 announced.
we're getting lots of between Disney and Pixar and Disney Animation, we're getting lots of sequels. But you know they
Yeah.
have a tendency to.
Speaking of remakes, all the animated films are now going to be live action movies. They're going to make their money, but
You know what
are they telling anything new?
Okay, but you know what though?
Is it going to be
They've been
better?
done so well, and I thought they were completely unnecessary.
Well-
but Cinderella is a beautiful motion picture, and yes, it's better than Walt Disney's original animated
They've been
version.
done so well, but they've also been done so much. Beauty and the Beast was a movie, and then it was a Broadway play. Now it's back into a movie, taking part of that Broadway play. Aladdin, same thing. Now that's going to be a live action movie. I'm like,
They're doing it all.
We've already spent our money on these stories.
Dumbo is coming.
We've already Jungle Book. We've already spent our money.
But that was beautifully done.
On these
The
movies.
Jungle Book was
a good
beautifully
movie.
done, and I hear
But
that there will
how
not
many
be a
times-
dry eye with he's also directing The Lion King, and they showed a
Yeah.
piece of it at the D23,
Yeah.
the Disney convention,
Yeah.
and I guess forget about it. We got to go with this, I think, dude. I think
Well,
we
as
gotta-
long as it's making money, they're going to do it. Just
I think we got to go with this, and I
at
think
what point are we going to go? You know, I've seen this story.
with the
2 or 3
Disney
times,
movies,
or
I
I've
got
already spent
two.
my money on
I got
this.
2 that just don't. You know, and just say when you don't do God, we are really ranting like, oh man, we got to put.
We are.
Okay.
Rant.
Rant.
It's a rant episode.
Okay,
Remember
I'm
this
almost done. I just gotta say there was 2
It's
Disney
war.
movies you should leave alone because just like Gone Within, you're not gonna do it. You're not gonna do it happen. It happened one night. You're not
You're not going to do E.T.
You're not gonna do those movies again.
No.
I think you should not do Snow White. And this Mary Poppins thing is a rough sandwich for me to swallow without any milk.
Yeah.
You know, that was Walt Disney's considered his only live action masterpiece.
Yeah. It's great. They even made a movie about the making of it.
I don't know.
You know what I would
They're
like?
bringing a lot of talent to it.
You know what I would like to? Well, that doesn't always mean anything.
You're right.
You know what I would like to see, since they're taking the animated movies and making them
them
live
live,
action.
yes.
I would like to see an animated Mary Poppins with a live action penguin Jolly Holiday sequence.
You don't really want to see that.
Yes, I do. That would be my one. That would be my one movie that I'd be like, all right, I'll allow that. So for the novelty of it.
But to your
Where
point,
the animated people go into a
you
live
could
action
go the other way.
live action CG penguins dancing around.
And if I were a motion picture producer, I would seriously consider and if I were the Walt Disney Company, I
That's
would
what
have
that
considered
was
doing it. I would have considered buying Wicked and doing it straight, but
Animated.
animated.
I would love to see. That's my
Beautifully
idea.
done. Keep all the songs.
Yes.
Do it straight.
We could cut 2 of them.
That's right. There are 2 that really freaking suck.
Well, I have this theory of every Broadway musical can afford to lose 2 songs in 20 minutes.
You're right. In most cases,
Yeah,
you're
in most
absolutely
cases, yeah. I'd say 90% of them. You could lose 2 songs, 20 minutes, and not lose any other story. But yeah, I would love to see an animated, like hand drawn.
But that I don't know about
Do you want
that.
like? Do you want? Oh, maybe like Frozen. Maybe like a CG animated.
But I mean, you could really do some. You'd have to worry about the anyway.
Yeah, I think that would be a good medium to tell it because
Right.
of the fantastic.
Why not take a property like that and say, yes, this is
Yeah.
a really good property,
Yeah, you
and
could get the Frozen
animation is a
treatment.
serious enough thing.
Yeah,
and
you could
do
get the
this.
Frozen treatment. Yeah, I would love
what
to
I
see
think.
that. Anyway,
Well, I feel like I've really purged.
I feel much better. I feel lighter myself.
I feel spiritually
Well,
cleansed.
we had some extra time to let it build up, and now we got to get it all out. So, any other recommendations? Spider-Man.
Yeah.
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 Great.
I think it's the best one in a long time.
Well,
Maybe the
well,
best one.
Yeah, even better than like the original Spider-Man 2
I do.
with Alfred Molina, because that was great.
Okay, that would be. It's
As good as that?
It's there. It's
Okay,
there.
good, because that was excellent. I love that movie.
It's different, but it's there.
well, of course. It's different,
Marissa Tomei in that one too, probably.
No, she wasn't.
Does she never age? My God in heaven, Marissa
God bless
Tomei.
Marissa Tomei.
God bless Marissa Tomei. But
I love your Lee Greenwood impression.
did you like that?
Can we work a Lee Greenwood impression in every episode as well? James Franco, Lee Greenwood. We're building up a repertoire here.
Anyway,
Anywho.
so there's only really one more serious film, motion picture coming out next that and
Do you have a recommendation for the next
it's
time?
going to be
What-
Dunkirk. Dunkirk is
Dunkirk,
going
ooh.
to be a big deal. It's going to be
Yeah.
a Christopher Nolan joint, baby. And nobody,
Yeah.
it's getting
Think this will
really
be his
marvelous
Oscar?
reviews, and they're saying that this is his. Like Spielberg had the last word on like the World War II movie, and so had the last word on the Nam movie. That as far as this goes, no one will ever need to visit this piece of World War I again. This is, but that that the director is the star of the motion picture.
Interesting.
But it always is. He's a little, come on, he's a little jerk off. He's a little masturbatory. He is a little bit.
Well, I see. To me, the masturbatory filmmaker is Quentin Tarantino. I feel like lately he's been writing the scripts with one hand. Now he writes great scenes. Like he has wonderful dialogue and he has
Yes,
great
it's
scenes.
true.
But sometimes the overall, the when you put them all together,
And why? You know what he's doing
the
now?
effect sometimes falls short.
You know what he's doing now?
What?
The Manson murders.
I saw that.
Why?
That doesn't sound interesting to me.
I don't want to load my head. I imagine with this brain.
Well, maybe he's got.
Kids, get off my lawn! Sorry.
Yeah, maybe he has these great scenes in mind. But
I don't want to see great scenes about that.
I don't know. Anywho, we done ranting? You done, Statler? That makes me Waldorf. Alrighty. Well, so recap. War of the Worlds. Excellent. Wonderful.
No, not War of the Worlds.
Not War of the. Did I say War of the Worlds? War for the Planet of the Apes.
Yes.
Yes. Very well done.
2 thumbs up, but
Yeah.
it's brutal.
Especially, don't bring the kids.
It's more violent than it needs to be.
Well, it's like you said, it's a war movie, so use your best judgment and bring in the young ones in. All right, this is good. So why don't we come back for Dunkirk?
All right, that'll be a serious motion picture.
Yeah, we're going to be serious.
You should wear a tie that time too.
Should I? Out of respect? Dunkirk. Next up.
Well,
All righty.
I'm Louie.
I'm Tony. And this has
has
been
been Talking During the
Movie.
So how many movies have you even seen?
I've seen several, just not as many as you
How
have.
many?
I'd say like 3, 4. I saw Transformers. I saw.
And that you've
One
seen
word.
3, and Transformers was one of them.
Well, yeah. Don't judge.